We've seen men die by the hundreds of thousands as Europe has been ripped apart in just half a year. New battlefronts have been opened to gain any advantage, and soldiers come from all around the world to die, while new technology has taken the war to the skies and beneath the seas. Technology now turns to close combat as this week, new weapons make their appearance for the first time, including one of the most feared of them all, the flamethrower. I'm Indy Nidell. Welcome to the Great War. Last week, we saw the British and French expand the war by bombing the Turks at the Dardanelles. The Austro-Hungarian Empire had begun a second winter offensive against the Russians in the mountains, while far to the north, the Germans had officially halted their offensive against the Russians after weeks of heavy fighting. In the west, it was death as usual, but with the French and British making slight headway against the Germans. The Western Front was a stalemate, but it wasn't stagnant, for more and more British troops were arriving throughout the winter and spring, and they would soon be able to take over stretches of the line from the French and even mount their own offensives. But where would this happen? How would one choose a line of advance that would bring about big German withdrawal? Well, the British and French had been seriously analyzing that problem for weeks, and they saw that it all hinged on the rail communications that supplied the German army. Now, there were three rail systems that led back across the Rhine River into Germany. The one furthest to the south was the shortest and was also the most easily defended. So they looked at the other two that supplied the huge German salient between Flanders and Verdun. If either of those were cut, they reasoned, then the German troops in the salient would have to fall back, and you might create, once again, the conditions of open warfare that pretty much everyone believed was a necessary prerequisite for gaining a decisive victory. So the 1915 battle strategy was going to be offensives at the edges of the salient. In the north, against the Albers and Vimy ridges that protected the German railways in the plain behind them. And in the south, against the Champagne heights that protected the Mézières-Hirson railway line. A best-case scenario would be that the attacks managed to converge, which would not only cut off the railway lines, but would surround the German troops. So the British and French agreed on this as the main plans for the spring offensives. The French, though, were actually still in the middle of their winter offensive, the Champagne offensive that had been on since December, and they were actually making a bit of headway this week. This week, they were advancing from Perthes and managed to take 2 kilometers of new ground from the